Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. And I'd like to echo the previous comments of the member before me that I cannot believe the title and topic of this MPI. It's almost as though the opposition has run out of ideas. And clearly they are not listening to what the rest of Australia is seeing and hearing, and that is that we are delivering. We have delivered, we will deliver, and we will continue to deliver.
Members on my left will cease interjecting.
Are living in a Labor bubble. Now, Mr Deputy Speaker, I actually only have 5 minutes, and that's really disappointing because I have so many things that I'd like to talk about. But the most important thing is the Morrison Government has delivered on a dual health and economic crisis. We have been at the helm of the ship that is Australia. Those on the other side have been simply backseat drivers. And here, we hear them again. They love to talk about the things that don't seem relevant to the Australian people. We're listening to the Australian people, and we're delivering for the Australian people. Mr Deputy Speaker, we know Australians want us to deliver on the health and economic outcomes that the COVID crisis has delivered. And we know today that we've seen from the Australian Bureau of Statistics a testament to the economic response that we have delivered to the most extraordinary economic crisis this country has seen in living memory. Now, this data released showed that there's a GDP rise of 3.3% in the September quarter, officially taking Australia out of a recession. Now, this has largely been demand-driven, and we know that the restrictions that have occurred in some states, such as unfortunately in Victoria, has meant that that state is behind the rest of the country. But the recovery that we've seen in the rest of the country is due to the cash boost that we have delivered with regards to things like JobKeeper, which has supported 3.3 million workers, our Home Builder Grant program, which has accelerated the construction sector, our Instant Asset Write-Off, which has helped businesses have the confidence to invest in their own businesses. And these measures have generated a demand-led recovery, a recovery that puts us in a strong position to prepare for a post-COVID world. Now, Mr Deputy Speaker, as someone who comes from a health profession, I'd just like to list the many things that we have delivered with regards to our health response. We've acted swiftly to develop and fund a comprehensive health response, amongst other things a $2.4 billion health package to protect and keep safe all Australians. We've ensured our health professionals are protected with adequate supplies of personal protective equipment. That has been an extraordinary delivery of an outcome which was in a crisis quite an unbelievable and unprecedented global supply chain difficulty. We've secured COVID tests from overseas at a time when competition with this supply chain was incredibly stiff. These tests were delivered to states to enable them to do the contact tracing that was required. We've provided $669 million to expand Medicare subsidised telehealth services for all Australians, so everyone has access to quality health care while we've been living through COVID. We've funded home delivery of most prescription medicines for those unable to get to their local pharmacy. We've delivered an extra $1 billion to respond to the impact of COVID-19 on aged care, and we've entered into advanced purchasing arrangements with 3 vaccine manufacturers with 134 million vaccines that are actually contracted. Now, in addition to this, we've also delivered $48 million to the National Mental Health and Wellbeing Pandemic Response Plan. I could go on, Mr Deputy Speaker. 100 fever clinics. We've delivered expert advice and evidence-based with regards to committees that have underpinned a very science-based approach to what has been seen internationally as a wonderful response right here in Australia, and something that all Australians should be proud of. But I do want to turn in my last minute to what we've delivered locally in Higgins. And I'm very proud of the fact that we've delivered solar panels to St John's Anglican Church in Toorak and the Sri Krishna Brudavina Temple in Murrumbina. We've delivered for an exciting new biodiversity campaign run by the City of Stonington. We're keeping our Jewish community safe with comprehensive security upgrades at the King David School in Armidale and Hubbard in Malvern. We've delivered for our sporting clubs with projects approved, locked and loaded to commence first thing in 2021, now that restrictions in Victoria have finally been eased. Indeed, these projects form part of a broad suite of ready-to-commence infrastructure projects across the country. Now, Mr Deputy Speaker, the road to recovery has been long and bumpy, but the Morrison Government has a firm hand on the wheel. Our economic comeback is now underway, and Australians should all be proud. The Morrison Government has delivered for Australians both on an economic and a health front, and we will continue to do so now and into the future. Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker.
I call the member